because every time my mother stared at me, I looked into her eyes, bad things happened. She punished me, she hit me, she abused me. Every time, my father stared at me, he used to mistreat me. Every time I used to, look into my partner's eyes, you know some bad things used to happen. I could see that rage, vindictiveness, contemptuousness, and a lot of bad things used to happen. So as a result of which, I started avoiding. I thought that this is not the good stuff. Let me look elsewhere and continue the conversation. But somewhere or the other, I knew that this is not right. I need to work on it. And how do I work on it? I mean, by facing it, yeah, by facing my demons, by facing my weaknesses, vulnerabilities, and fear. So yes, I mean, hypersensitivity, to eye contact is, one of the symptoms of narcissistic abuse trauma. Hey everyone, I hope everyone is doing good and taking good care of themselves. So today I'm going to talk about, the triggering symptoms of narcissistic abuse trauma, which not many of the people talk about. And before I get going, I would request you all to like, share, subscribe the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys are updated whenever we put out a new content. Now, this video is all about, the symptoms that, not many of us talk about. The symptoms that we get to see, in the survivors, the victims of narcissistic abuse. Yeah. And I came up with this idea while I was having a conversation with one of my therapist friend. Yeah, we happen to be from the same batch in the college. And she was in fact talking about some of the symptoms that she has observed in her clients. Plus I observed some of the symptoms. Plus I have my own first-hand experience, being a narcissistic abuse survivor, being a victim. I survived, my narcissistic family. I survived, my narcissistic relationship with my, ex. So I have this, first-hand experience, yeah, as to what narcissistic abuse feels like. It's not just theoretical part. It's not just what I have read, yeah, or I have researched. I have first-hand experience, and everyone's experience is different, yeah. But if you have a first-hand experience and encounter with such individuals, you have a lot of clarity plus the book knowledge, yeah. So all of it adds more to your experience, your personal experience, the knowledge, the things that you have read in the books, yeah. And your professional experience, yeah, working as a therapist. You come across a lot of different individuals. Some are narcissists themselves, some are victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse. So you get to see a lot of things. So I thought that let me make a video where I will put out these different symptoms that we get to see with the victims or the survivors of narcissistic abuse, yeah. So let's get into it. The first symptom is phantom apologies. Yeah, frequently imagining, scenarios where the narcissist, finally is apologizing to you and saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I love you. I regret, doing this and this, and I'm, seriously sorry. And henceforth, things will be fine. You will see a different person altogether. I am no more that person." So because of that narcissistic abuse trauma, we get into a state where we start, you can say daydreaming, or visualizing that one fine day the narcissist is going to realize my value and worth, and is going to reach out to me and then seek apology. But we know how things are. They will never reach out to you. They might hoover, they might send their flying monkeys, they might triangulate things, but they are never going to reach out to you and tell you, "Hey, I'm sorry." Yeah. Some of the narcissists do have the ability to fake an apology, but majority of them, they don't. Yeah, they're going to do a number on you. They are going to project themselves as the victim, and that's it. They have inability to apologize or express gratitude or remorse. Yeah, and this is because lack of empathy, extreme sense of entitlement. They just don't care, yeah, what you are going through or what their action is causing you. That's not their domain, that's not their business. Yeah, so in order to cope and survive that toxic relationship, that narcissistic relationship, we start playing out these scenes in our mind. Yeah, that one day he's going to realize my worth, one day he's going to come and apologize me, and this is basically to make things more breathable and survivable. Yeah, I mean, this is just to soothe ourselves, yeah, and feel a little better, that one fine day my mother is going to see my worth, one fine day my father is going to see my worth, one fine day my husband is going to apologize for his misconduct and bad behavior, one fine day my friend is going to reach out to me and apologize, and everything will be fine. Yeah, so this is again because of that prolonged exposure to trauma, we tend to develop a lot of different dysfunctional soothing strategies. Yeah, we resort to a lot of different ways to make things a little doable and livable. Yeah, whereas in we know the dysfunctionality is there, the abuse is there, nothing is going to change, but it's our mind's way of making us feel comfortable in this situation so that we don't give up. Yeah, we keep moving ahead. Yeah, so yes, phantom apologies are one of the things that I have seen with a lot of survivors and victims of narcissistic abuse. I was also there when I was abused by my partner, narcissistic partner. He was also raised by narcissistic mother and father. um, somewhere or the other, I used to have this feeling, a strong feeling on the inside, a strong hope that he's going to come to me and apologize. Long after I went no contact, I still used to have these thoughts, yeah, in my mind that after 2 years or 5 years, he's going to come out of the blue, and then he's going to apologize, and everything is going to be fine, he's going to regret, and all of these things. And I think that is a part of healing, I would say. I mean, when you are in that relationship, of course it's a kind of a coping mechanism that you develop. But when you are no contact with the narcissist, you tend to have that hope. It's a part of healing. You tend to go through that phase, you grieve, and then you have periods where you hope that things might work out. After some time, after some years, things might work out, and everything will be back to square one. We'll have a happy married life, and that's it. Yeah, so I personally have experienced, and during my sessions, when I interact with other survivors and victims, I get to see this. Yeah, somewhere or the other they hope that things will be fine, he's going to apologize, she's going to apologize, but that day never comes. Yeah, instead the entire thing becomes more toxic with time. Yeah, the earlier phase is all that love bombing, everything is good, and then begins the devaluation, minimization, and the final is discard. Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily go back to the love bombing phase. Yeah, they might pretend that things are okay, I'm working on myself, but that is just to keep you in the relationship. Yeah, they just want sources of supply. I mean, they don't care whether you are functional or dysfunctional, healthy or toxic. All what they want is their source of supply anyhow. Yeah, and they really don't like losing their source of supply. They keep creating new sources of supply. Yeah, more friends, more acquaintance. They keep creating more sources of supply, like children, friends, acquaintance, colleagues. They keep assigning roles to whoever they come across, and they see fit and eligible for that role. Yeah, as their supply source. So yes, phantom apology is one of the real things that I have experienced, and I have seen with my clients as well. The other symptom of narcissistic abuse trauma that I have observed and experienced is emotional numbness around compliments. Yeah, because when we were with the narcissist, when we were raised by the narcissist, or when we were in relationship with the narcissist, you know uh, praise was often used in a very manipulative way. Yeah, we were only praised to loop us back in, yeah, into that toxic dysfunctional cycle. Yeah, we were praised only when we were, able to give them what they wanted out of us in, a certain way. Only then we used to get that, praise. We were not getting, healthy validation, a healthy version of praise. Praise was very limited, and it was only given to us when they were able to harvest the supply out of us. Yeah. So as a result of which, when we grow up, we really don't take, people's compliments seriously, even though the person is, giving us genuine compliments, and the person is feeling, good about, something that we have done. But, somewhere or the other, we keep doubting that maybe he has some ulterior motive, maybe he's again trying to manipulate me, maybe he's just being sarcastic. Yeah, we don't, accept the genuine compliments. Yeah, because we were never complimented, in a healthy way. Every time, we were complimented, we were given some other responsibility. Every time we were complimented, we had to compensate, a lot. Yeah, so it was quite a transactional thing. It was not just healthy compliments that we did get, from a narcissistic relationship, narcissistic family. So, we tend to feel emotionally numb around, compliments. It doesn't really, make us feel good. Yeah, we start doubting, that person's intentions. Maybe he's doing it to get something out of me, maybe, she's doing this to get this out of me. Yeah, so we are very emotionally numb. We don't feel good, we don't take it seriously. We, see, it as a, doubtful, action and response. Yeah, there is something wrong. I mean, because I never got any healthy compliment, so how come, one fine day this person is complimenting my looks? Maybe he wants to sleep with me, maybe he wants to use me, maybe she wants to get something out of me, and that's why she's complimenting. Yeah, so we tend to respond in a very dysfunctional and, in a very unhealthy way to compliments. The other triggering symptom of narcissistic abuse trauma is, compulsive over explaining. Yeah, so constantly over justifying even minor decisions, due to being, repeatedly, questioned or gaslighted. So, we were questioned aggressively, we were not allowed to do things our way, and, as a result of which, we have to over explain. Yeah, even though, once if you explain things, it's okay. Yeah, but because of all that narcissistic abuse trauma, we learn to over explain so that, we can protect ourselves. Yeah, we are not mistreated. Yeah, it's like a defense mechanism that we develop. Yeah, a kind of a coping strategy, a defense mechanism, that we tend to over explain things, even though if it is not needed, but still we do it. Yeah, and that's our body's way of protecting us. We over explain things so that, the person doesn't misunderstand us. We over explain things so that the person doesn't punish us, the person doesn't hurt us. Yeah, and, I have experienced it. I was there as well, whereas I was over explaining things and people were just not interested because they were healthy individuals and they, didn't want all that over explanation. But I was, used to over explaining myself, and it was my way of, feeling safe and, protecting my own self. And, it used to really irritate people, and I used to often wonder, I'm just trying to be very clear about myself, my intention, my feeling, but why is this person, distancing himself or herself? And, later on I realized that I am, over explaining myself, which is not needed. And in that process I was giving out a lot more information about myself. Yeah, and toxic individuals, dysfunctional individuals, or narcissistic individuals are going to misuse, every, information that they, can get hold of regarding you. Yeah, so we are doing it, in order to protect ourselves. We are doing it because we have developed this habit by being, raised by narcissistic parents, or by, spending, great deal of time in a narcissistic relationship. It's become a part of who we are. We over explain in order to feel safe, and in order to be seen and heard and not mistreated. We over explain so that we are not punished. Yeah, and, we tend to, give out a lot more. There is a lot of instances where I felt that, I gave out a lot more of information than it was needed, and it was used against me. Yeah, so, Over explaining is, again, one of the, I would say, triggering symptoms of narcissistic abuse trauma. Yeah? The other triggering symptom of narcissistic abuse trauma is chronic guilt for relaxing. Yeah, so you tend to struggle to relax or enjoy downtime, and this is because you have this feeling, of guilt on the inside. Yeah, for not being productive, for not staying on guard, against, potential, threats, criticism. You just feel guilty for relaxing and, being at peace. Yeah, you feel really guilty for, lying down and not doing something. Yeah, because in the past, in your family, in your relationship, whenever you tried relaxing, you were shamed, you were criticized. Oh, you are a lazy person, whole day you are lying down and sleeping and wasting your time. Look how much I am doing, you're a waste, you are just a lazy ass. We get to hear a lot of these things, and as a result of which, we start feeling guilty for even relaxing. Yeah, so if genuinely our body craves, some relaxation, we tend to not give that, to our body. Yeah, because we feel guilty, because if I'm going to relax, he or she might, find me lazy. He might or she might, um, come at me and tell me that I'm wasting time and not being productive. Yeah, so we tend to, feel guilty for relaxing. And this is a real thing, because when I was with my narcissistic parents, I used to feel guilty for sleeping extra. I used to feel guilty, for dozing off, every now and then. Yeah, because they never used to make me feel normal. They used to criticize me, shame me, and tell me I'm worthless. I'm a burden on them, I'm a liability, I'm just eating and I'm just sleeping and just studying, I'm not doing anything else, and I'm not helping them in the household chores. I mean, what do you expect out of a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old? To do all your household chore? Yeah, I mean, but narcissistic parents view their children as unpaid laborer. Yeah, they want return. You cannot have a normal childhood if you are raised by narcissistic parents. They will rob you of your childhood. They will parentify you from an early age. Yeah, so because of all that conditioning, all that experience in my adult life, I used to feel guilty, for relaxing or treating myself, going for a foot massage, going for a body massage, a spa, a sauna. I used to feel guilty that, I shouldn't, treat myself. Yeah, and instead I should be more productive. Yeah, I was scared that, how would people view me? How would my friends view, me going out there and, having foot massage very often, having head massage very often. I used to feel guilty that, I shouldn't do this. I don't deserve this, because I was a lazy person since childhood, and now is the time to prove myself and not, relax. Yeah. So, I had this deep set guilt inside of me. The other triggering symptom of narcissistic abuse trauma is hyper, sensitivity to eye contact. Yeah, feeling anxious or threatened by prolonged eye contact, and this is, the reminiscent, of the narcissist intimidating, gaze. Yeah, their, death stare, when, they're just looking at you, staring at you, and you don't feel comfortable when people stare at you. Yeah, and as a result of which, you hate, having eye contact with people. Yeah, you avoid having eye contact with people. You start feeling anxious when, someone who's, communicating with you, looks into your eyes. You don't feel comfortable. Yeah, because it reminds you of that narcissistic parent, narcissistic husband, wife, boyfriend, whatever. Yeah, so you don't feel good with eye contact, and as a result of which you avoid eye contact. You are busy doing something, you're looking elsewhere, but you're not, making an eye contact. Yeah, because it reminds you of the past. It reminds you of the narcissist, rage and fury, anger, punishment, all of the, bad stuff that you used to experience, after that stare. When the narcissist used to stare at you, bad things used to happen. Yeah, so, as a result of which your body has registered eye contact, as a bad stuff. Yeah, I need to protect this body. from eye contact, because eye contact means red flag, eye contact means danger, threat. Yeah. So yes, I mean, I was also there, and I used to avoid making eye contact. uh, I used to start crying without any reason if I used to make eye contact. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I used to avoid making eye contact, but in some of the cases, if by mistake I used to make eye contact, or if I used to force myself to make an eye contact, there used to be a different overwhelming feeling, yeah, that used to take over, and all of a sudden I used to burst in tears. Yeah. And the other person used to feel uncomfortable. What's wrong with you? I'm just speaking to you, and I'm not hurting you, I'm not doing anything wrong. But that eye contact used to overwhelm me. Yeah, earlier I used to avoid it, used to make me feel anxious, and I used to avoid it at all costs. But later on, when I started confronting, when I started working on myself, and I started looking into people's eyes, initially I used to have this overwhelming feeling, and sometimes I used to cry also, and I used to have no explanation for this. I mean, people used to in fact feel sorry, and they used to feel guilty that maybe I have said something, or I have overstepped, or is she hurt with my action and behavior. They used to get into that doubtful state, and they used to ask me, Sarah, what is wrong, what made you cry, please tell me. But I mean, it used to be very difficult for me to explain them that staring in the eye used to remind a lot of things, because every time my mother stared at me, I looked into her eyes, bad things happened. She punished me, she hit me, she abused me. Every time my father stared at me, he used to mistreat me. Every time I used to look into my partner's eyes, you know some bad things used to happen. I could see that rage, vindictiveness, contemptuousness, and a lot of bad things used to happen. So as a result of which, I started avoiding. I thought that this is not the good stuff. Let me look elsewhere and continue the conversation. But somewhere or the other, I knew that this is not right, I need to work on it. And how do I work on it? I mean, by facing it. Yeah, by facing my demons, by facing my weaknesses, vulnerabilities, and fear. So yes, I mean, hypersensitivity to eye contact is one of the symptoms of narcissistic abuse trauma. The other triggering symptom of narcissistic abuse trauma is a sense of unreality. Yeah, experiencing moments of detachment where life feels surreal. And this is because of all the years of gaslighting, emotional confusion, constantly being gaslighted, and you are constantly doubting your own reality, your own perception, your own feeling, your own emotion. You're basically in that doubtful state. So um, sometimes you experience this sense of unreality. What is exactly happening? Is this even real? Am I alive, or am I dead? Yeah. And I can tell you that I used to experience this as well. Like, everything is fine, but out of nowhere I used to have this feeling on the inside. Is this real, or am I in some other dimension? Or is there a healthy dimension out there, healthy world out there that I can go into? Or there's something wrong with me. I mean, it used to feel as if I am in the wrong body, or I'm in the wrong place. Yeah, I'm not in the right place. This is not real. Yeah, reality is something else. Yeah. So sense of unreality is also one of the symptoms of narcissistic abuse trauma. Yeah, whereas you are in present, everything is fine, but all of a sudden you are dissociated, you are disconnected, and you start feeling as if you know you are in a world where you are not grounded. You are in a world where you are not experiencing. Yeah, what you are seeing, what you're experiencing, everything is very superficial, and it's not deep. Yeah. And you feel as if you are in a wrong place. Yeah. So all of this, sense of unreality, dissociation, these are, the effects of, prolonged exposure to trauma. Yeah, and when you are raised by narcissistic parents, when you are in relationship with a narcissist, I mean, these symptoms are very common. Yeah. The other triggering symptom of narcissistic abuse trauma is burden of holding, the conversation, always feeling responsible for initiating and carrying the conversation, hoping the narcissist will finally understand your point of view. I was also there. Yeah, I used to, start the conversation with my narcissistic parent, and this was, because I wanted to check if at all they are angry or they have forgiven me, even though I never used to do any mistakes. I used to think 10,000 times before doing anything. I used to always, ask them, but some way or the other, it was, imprinted inside of me that I need to check, I need to emotionally monitor them. Yeah, so that I can protect myself. Yeah, and as a result of which I used to initiate the conversation. They used to give silent treatment, but I used to go up to them and start begging for attention. I used to start conversation, I mean, irrelevant things. Yeah, and I used to feel responsible that I need to hold this conversation in order to know the emotional state of my parent. I need to hold this conversation in order to know the emotional state of my narcissistic boyfriend, husband. Yeah, so I felt responsible that I need to initiate the conversation, even though they are mistreating me, giving me silent treatment, but I need to initiate the conversation in order to know their emotional state, so that I can be prepared. Yeah, so that I can protect myself. Yeah, and this was all basically some way or the other to make the narcissist understand my point of view. Yeah, and I always used to explain things. I used to start the conversation after being abused, mistreated. They never used to reach out to me and start the conversation. I used to reach out to them. Yeah, I mean, one thing was there that I wanted to protect myself by finding out their emotional state, and the other thing was a kind of a hope, you can say. Yeah, that they might understand my side of story, they might understand my point of view. A tiny hope was there that if I initiate the conversation, they might understand my side of story. But it was all waste, it was all useless. They did what they had to, or what they wanted, and my side of story was never really important. If it would have been important, they wouldn't have had mistreated me, they wouldn't have had devalued me, abused me, exploited me, or shamed me and guilt tripped me and manipulated me and gaslighted me. They wouldn't have done all of these things if they were genuinely concerned about me. Yeah, all what they were concerned about is the harvesting of the supply. All what they were concerned about is the quality of supply I was able to provide to them, and that's it. The other triggering symptom of narcissistic abuse trauma is rehearsing conversations in your head. Yeah, obsessively replaying past arguments or rehearsing, future discussions, trying to find the right words that might finally get through to them. Yeah, so I mean, we all get abused and exploited by the narcissistic individual, narcissistic parent, narcissistic spouse, and as a result of which, we tend to, replay, past arguments or rehearse for, future, discussions. Yeah, so that, we don't, do a mistake. We don't, hurt them. We don't, trigger them. Yeah, because we know life as it is like walking on eggshells. You have to think 10,000 times before speaking to them. Because they will react to anything and everything that they don't like. Yeah, they will not sit with you and try and find out your side of understanding or your side of story. So before communicating with my narcissistic parents, my narcissistic partner, I used to replay those scenes, that I'm going to walk up to them, I'm going to say this and this. I used to even choose selective words so that it doesn't hurt them, it doesn't trigger them, it doesn't make them angry. Yeah, in order to avoid all that rage, punishment, and all of the bad stuff, I used to select words carefully, and I used to keep replaying till the time I don't speak things out, yeah, in front of them. So this is also a kind of a thing that we get to see with survivors and victims of narcissistic abuse. Yeah, we have to rehearse things, we have to reverse before communicating with the narcissist, because you never know what triggers them, or what sets them off, what hurts them, and then they're going to throw narcissistic rage. They're going to be physically abusive, they're going to be verbally, emotionally, they're going to be I mean, hell abusive with you if they are triggered, or if they perceive your action and behavior as a threat or as a red flag. They're not going to spare you. And in order to avoid all of those bad stuff, we tend to rehearse things. Yeah, this is how it happened last time when I spoke this and this word, so now this time I'm going to speak it in this way, my tone will be this, and I'm going to use this and this word, so that he or she doesn't feel uncomfortable and doesn't come at me and doesn't throw rage at me. The other triggering symptom of narcissistic abuse trauma is flinching at sudden kindness. So if someone is being kind with you, you don't feel comfortable. Instead, it's like a red flag, because every time the narcissist was kind, something bad happened. Yeah, either they put on more responsibilities, either they wanted us to do more of the things, some bad stuff happened. Yeah, that kindness was just a cover up. Yeah, so we tend to get scared when we see people are being kind to us. We start thinking that there might be some hidden agenda, and this person is doing all this because he or she wants something out of me. That person might be doing things for you genuinely. That person must be that person might be genuinely kind towards you, but because of your past trauma, because of your past experience, you doubt their kindness. Yeah, you doubt their kindness, and you don't feel comfortable. Yeah, you are always on the guard. Yeah, what if he's being kind now and later on she asks me this, he asks me this favor and that favor. Yeah, so yes, I mean, flinching at sudden kindness is also one of the symptoms of narcissistic abuse trauma. I was also there. Whenever people used to be good with me and whenever they used to be kind with me, I used to always have this negative thought process. Yeah, whenever I witnessed people's kindness, it was like, maybe he's doing this and this, maybe he wants something else in return from me, so let me avoid him. Yeah, let me not speak to him. She's doing all this, maybe she wants something out of me. That used to be my first thought. My first thought never used to be that okay, I've done something good, I deserve this special treatment, and I'm thankful. No, my first thought used to be doubt, and there's some ulterior motive, they have some agenda, that's why they are being kind to me. Yeah, so let me not feel good. Instead, let me be alert, let me be on guard. And the last triggering symptom of narcissistic abuse trauma is feeling unworthy of normalcy. So, you find it unsettling when relationships are calm and stable, and this is because your nervous system is conditioned to chaos, dysfunctionality, unpredictability. You are attuned to all of the, dysfunctionality, and as a result of which, when everything is going fine, everything is okay, happy, stable, calm, you don't feel good. Yeah, peace is something that feels foreign. Yeah, and you are forever suspicious. Even though everything is going well in the relationship, you keep doubting the relationship. Yeah, and this is because your nervous system is messed up since childhood, or since the time you had encountered the narcissist in your life. Yeah, and it takes a lot of time to regulate yourself. It takes a lot of time to heal. It takes a lot of time to unlearn all of the bad stuff, yeah, that we picked up while we were with the narcissist, whether it was the narcissistic parent or your narcissistic spouse. So normal, peace, calm is, in a way you can say boring. Yeah, because we are so addicted to the cortisol high. you know we get used to it to such an extent that we crave that dysfunctionality, we crave that instability somewhere or the other. That feels normal to us. Yeah, I mean, growing up in a chaotic environment, I always believe that life is chaotic and relationships are chaotic and dysfunctional and abusive. But then I started realizing that no, there are healthy relationships out there, there are healthy role models that I could see and learn from. So I started having this realization that the place where I come from, that was chaotic, dysfunctional, toxic and narcissistic. But not everyone is the same. Not every relationship has abuse in it concealed as love and affection and care and concern. So yes, I mean, you know with prolonged exposure to narcissistic abuse, or if you spend more time in narcissistic setup, you tend to start liking dysfunctionality, um, erratic behavior, chaotic, dramatic, environment. You tend to find peace in that. We tend to get used to all of that. Yeah, and we think that this is how it is. Yeah, but no, you deserve a calm, cool, peaceful, happy life. Yeah, we all deserve that. It's just that our nervous systems are all messed up, dysregulated, and as a result of which we perceive things in a specific way. We think that this is the right way, whereas that's not the right way. We deserve peace, we deserve calm, we deserve tranquility. Yeah, so yes, these were triggering symptoms of narcissistic abuse trauma. In case if you would like to add in something, you can always comment below. Till then, take care of yourself. Lots of love and blessings to all of you. Bye.